Steam Deck won't be able to play multiplayer games. Ubisoft has delayed 2 big games, and Battlefield 2042 will have crossplay, but there is a catch. Hey, what is up everybody? Welcome on in once again to GamerConnect. You guys are watching top gaming news of this very week, and my name is GaminMadness, and let's jump in right into some top gaming news. And you have to press that like button, because if you do, I'll be happy, and if you don't, I'll cry and I'll cut my hair. I'm not bluffing, I'll do it. Last week, Valve announced Steam Deck, a handheld gaming PC which looks phenomenal in its design and can play any Steam games that you have. It's basically a PC that, if you wanted to, can connect to a monitor and it will turn into a normal desktop, where you can open a browser, watch videos, install other softwares and more. There are 3 different versions of this deck, but all these versions have the same power and performance, but the only difference is in the memory size. 64GB version sells for $399, 256GB version sells for $529, and 512GB version sells for $649. Of course, as it heads to India, the prices of the Steam Deck will increase, so I guess you might even get the base version of the Steam Deck at around 45 to 50,000 rupees. The deck runs with an AMD Zen 2 CPU architecture and AMD RDNA 2 GPU architecture, which is similar to that of PS4 and Xbox One. One thing to note is that this Steam Deck has a custom Steam OS, which is Linux-based OS. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, Linux won't be able to run all Windows applications. So to combat this, Valve developed a feature called Proton, which utilizes a fork of the Wine compatibility layer, which is designed to run native Windows titles on this very OS. This definitely expanded the list of Steam games that you can play on the Steam Deck, but there are a few exceptions. Games like Apex Legends, Rainbow Six Siege, PUBG and even Destiny 2 won't be able to run because the game will be able to launch in Steam Deck, but the anti-cheat software won't be able to launch, and without that, you cannot log into those multiplayer servers. Valve did notice this issue and will be working on Proton to fix this particular problem by working directly with the anti-cheat providers. Hopefully this issue gets resolved, because I believe the Steam Deck in itself looks absolutely phenomenal. I love the design. I would love to buy one of those and play some of the Steam games on handheld, like a lot of people play on mobile. But the thing is, it's a PC, so it's basically you playing a PC game in a PC but handheld, which is absolutely phenomenal. What do you guys think of Steam Deck so far? Let me know in the comments below, because I will be replying to your comments as the video goes live. Ubisoft has delayed 2 of its biggest games this very year, with Rainbow Six Extraction being delayed by 4 months and now will be coming in January 2022, and Riders Republic has been delayed by a month and will be releasing on October 28th. Ubisoft says that this extra month of the delay for Riders Republic will help them fine-tune the game, but the 4 months delay for Extraction might even change a lot of things. Ubisoft said in a recent blog post that their ambition is to make full-fledged AAA co-op experience and the zombie shooter game that they are confident to bring this vision to life, to give a thrilling experience and one that everybody will aspire to play in these 4 months. The exact reason for this delay has not been mentioned, but it's very clear. It's because of the reception that this game got when everybody saw the gameplay reveal. Many early previews even stated that the game is somewhat slow-paced, which isn't as good as Rainbow Six Siege. And along with that, Rainbow Six Siege had a very similar event, so Extraction and that event does not look that different at all, and in many ways, Extraction looks a much lower version of that Six Siege event. Rainbow Six Extraction is a game that I found exciting in the first time, but when I saw the gameplay, the excitement went off. But my excitement has risen up for Riders Republic, because that is a game that included every extreme sports into one game, and that looks so much more fun. So I think I'm much more waiting for that game than Rainbow Six Extraction, and definitely Ubisoft has to work more onto bringing something new in Extraction in order for people to have some kind of excitement for the game. But Ubisoft right now has to keep in check on something that is much more important than video games. The Solidaires Informatique Union has filed a complaint against Ubisoft, alleging that executives, including Ubisoft CEO, enabled and encouraged a culture of institutional sexual harassment in the company. The complaint targets Ubisoft as a company for establishing and maintaining a system where harassment is tolerated, because keeping harassers in place is much more in demand than keeping and making sure that the safety of the employers are kept in check. This isn't the first time the sexual harassment cases has been filed against Ubisoft. There were numerous reports last year regarding the same, which saw firing of some executives as well. And now this new complaint comes straight to the CEO as well, who promised that the things are changing in the company. Last week, there were lots of reports that the cracked version of Resident Evil Village runs better than the Steam version of Resident Evil Village because the original version has stuttering issues while the cracked version has no such issues. The stutters happen during combat, which the crackers have taken it away by removing the DRM. Resident Evil has Capcom's in-house DRM along with Denuvo layered on top of it. And Denuvo says that the stuttering has nothing to do with them since they have tested the game in various systems and they didn't find any issues. One thing to note is that this stuttering issue does not happen in consoles but only on PC, so that's why DRM isn't exactly to blame. Well, Capcom themselves have taken this issue on their hands and they're gonna look into the PC performance stuttering issues and will be bringing a new patch for the game very soon. It's interesting to see that the game has been pirated and cracked to fix an issue that is a stuttering issue for the game, and this brought up a new story of how DRM might be the issue for the games because that is causing the stuttering. DRM is not exactly to be blamed because this might be something else. Speaking of Capcom, it looks like RE-Verse, which is supposed to come out at the same time as that of Resident Evil Village, has now been delayed once again, and now instead of coming out this very month, which was planned to be coming out this very month, it is now coming next year. RE-Verse is a third-person online shooter game for 4 to 6 players which features characters from the previous game including Jack Baker from Resident Evil 7. This isn't the first time the game has been delayed. It was supposed to be released on the same time as the Resident Evil Village, but that was delayed to July, and now it has been delayed once again, but this time to next year. The game has multiple beta tests and had positive response, but the last beta test did not run that well because of matchmaking issues. What do you think of RE-Verse in general? Let me know in the comments down below, and what do you think of Resident Evil Village? In my opinion, that's one of the Game of the Years of this very year. According to a blog post by EA, they are now looking to bring crossplay to Battlefield 2042, and this coming alpha, they will be testing that crossplay, which they have never done before. Although there is one issue, this crossplay will happen between PS5, Xbox Series X and PC and will negate PS4 and Xbox One players, which means the PS4 players cannot play with PC players, but the PS4 players can have crossplays between Xbox One. So they will have that crossplay between themselves, but they cannot have this crossplay with PC players or the PS5 players, which sucks. Along with the crossplay, the blog post also says to expect cross-platform progression and cross-commerce support. Now that's not only it, Battlefield 2042 in general will give PS4 and Xbox One players the 64-player version of the game, while PC, Xbox Series X and PS5 will get the 128-player version of the game. And the major reason why this is happening is because of the technology difference between the last-gen console and the current-gen console. But overall, all of that situation just sucks big time because, to be honest, there's not a lot of PlayStation 5 players, but there's a hell lot of more of PlayStation 4 players, even Xbox One players. More things have also been mentioned in the post, such as the matches will be filled with AI to fill the 128 players or the 64-player based match. Now this is not going to be optional. If a server does not have 128 players, then it will be filled with AI. And of course, if somebody joins, in the meantime, the AI will be replaced by this new player who joined. According to DICE, they have built the AI in such a way that it resembles how you will be playing. They will capture the points, attack the vehicles, and flank the best way they can. And they won't be using any specialities or traits. And they won't be a specialist themselves, which means they won't be using a wingsuit or many other traits a specialist will have. I doubt when Battlefield 2042 comes out, there will be AI needed to fill a server. I think there will be a hell lot more of people who will be playing the game anyway. But regardless of that, I don't think so AI is much big of an issue because it's actually good to have AI in the game instead of having, well, 32 players out of a 64-player match, because that will feel a lot more empty. Speaking of specialists, the EA has made it more clear what a specialist will have. They will have a primary and a secondary weapon and an equipment slot such as medkits or ammo supply, and a throwable slot as well for grenades, flash and smoke. Squads will have 4 players, and each squad can have a duplicate specialist in Conquest and Breakthrough as well. With the same 2 specialists, they can look different because you can customize it, and they can have those cosmetics on them because of which they will look different. Truly, I'm not a big fan of specialists because that wasn't what Battlefield was all about. Battlefield always had characters, but they were not that important. Now with specialists, the most important thing is people will buy cosmetics and they will change the way each of the characters look. It is more like how Call of Duty is doing things with these cosmetics and how people look different, just to look different. And I believe that's what Battlefield is also doing with Battlefield 2042. And that's why a lot of people are not liking specialists in Battlefield. So I'm not sure how Battlefield 2042 will be, but I'm pretty much sure that the gameplay is going to be pretty good, but we'll have to wait and see because the open beta must be coming out on August, and I guess you guys can try it out and see how that game is. Looks like Netflix wants to step into the gaming scene as well. It's not only Netflix shows based on games anymore, it's actually selling games in Netflix. According to a report by Bloomberg, Netflix is looking to expand gaming and has hired Facebook's VR game content head and former head of mobile games at EA as well. The idea is to offer video games on Netflix platform by next year, and new games will appear alongside current fare as a new programming genre. Netflix won't be charging extra for the content, according to a person familiar with the situation. Now, we don't know if Netflix will be partnering with some publisher to bring games on its store, but we will have to wait and see what Netflix has in mind. Are they trying to make it something how Xbox Game Pass is? Maybe you buy the subscription and there will be some amount of games that you can play, or maybe if you buy the subscription, you get a lot more discount to buy that game. Not so sure how that is going to be, but if they can partnership with the publisher, that will be much more better than making it somewhat like Xbox Game Pass. What do you guys think of Netflix going into gaming scene and probably selling video games? Let me know in the comments below because it is quite interesting that Netflix decided to jump on that ship. Well, that was it for this episode of Top Gaming News. If you guys really enjoyed this one and got some information out of it, let us know by commenting down below, and also hit that like button, helps us out a lot, and also subscribe to watch more videos just like this every single week. You don't want to miss those one out. My name is GaminMadness and I shall see you guys in the next one. Until then, stay awesome, stay safe, and remember to play games and earn your scars.